Good evening. Good evening, Upper Darby. Welcome to the September 12th, 2023 combined work session and regular in-person and virtual meeting. The first item on the work session agenda is a Pledge of Allegiance by the 2023-24 Student Board Representatives. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Santos. The second item on the work session agenda is the introduction of the 2023-24 Student Board Representatives Fernando Santos and Jade McCants by Assistant Principal at the Upper Darby High School, Mr. Joe Niagara.
Good evening. I want to thank the board and Dr. McGarry for the opportunity to introduce the student representatives to the school board for the class of 2024, Jade McCants and Fernando Santos. The students before you are, in many ways, the epitome of all that is great about Upper Darby. They are hardworking, involved, and principled. They serve as student leaders in the building and in the community at large. Just as an example, today, where were Jade and Fernando? Well, they were serving as volunteers at the blood drive at the high school. Jade and Fernando are good people. They care deeply about Upper Darby High School and the larger community. Both are excited to serve in this new capacity. Each year when teachers receive their class lists for the first time, it is natural for teachers to kind of ask each other, who do you have this year? And Jade and Fernando are students that always elicit the response of, you are going to love to have them in your classroom this year. So I'm very happy to say that you all would love to have Jade and Fernando to serve on the board. Jade McCants attended Westbrook Park Elementary School and Drexel Hill Middle School. Here at the high school, Jade is a member of the dance team and student government. She's an integral in planning and choreographing and frankly organizing our entire homecoming performance. And naturally, Jade is all about school spirit. And she's interested in fostering school spirit across the Upper Darby School District. In her statement to become a school board rep, Jade spoke about how she wishes more students felt pride in their school and in the community. In this position, Jade wishes to advocate for students across the district and feel as she does, proud of where she comes from and hopeful for the opportunities before her. After high school, Jade aims to attend college to study business or economics, and ultimately Jade hopes to own her own business, a dream which I'm sure she will realize. Fernando Santos entered Upper Darby School District in the 5th grade after his family moved here from El Salvador. He attended Garrettford Elementary School and Drexel Hill Middle School. At the high school, Fernando is involved in royal government. The thing that really struck me about Fernando during the application process and then the preparation for tonight is his interest in seeing what the rest of the school district is up to. Part of being a student representative to the school board is the sense that you represent all students in the district. It is important for Fernando to see himself not just as a representative for the high school students, but for elementary and middle school students as well. Fernando is excited to get out into the district, speak to teachers, students, administrators, and attend events throughout the school year. So if there's any building principals, if you want Fernando there, he will be there, as well as Jade. After high school, Fernando intends on studying tourism and hospitality, and his goal as of right now is actually to become a flight attendant. Throughout the year, I believe that you will be impressed with the poise and the professionalism of Jade and Fernando, which I think is fitting for two students who ultimately aim to enter the business world. They are eager to serve as student representatives to the school board, and they are excited to be working with you all throughout the year. I want to say to Jade and Fernando, congratulations. I'm already very proud of the work that you've done here at the high school, and again, you're going to do great. Okay, thank you.
Welcome, Jade. I see you arrived, and Mr. Niagara's had some very nice things to say about you, so thank you. The third item on the work session agenda is a presentation of certificates for 25 years of service by Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources and Equity, Dr. John Council.
Good evening. So this evening and throughout this year, we have set aside time to recognize and celebrate the incredible dedication and commitment of our staff members who have dedicated an impressive 25 years of their lives to our district. This is a remarkable milestone, one worthy of our utmost admiration and respect. Throughout their 25 years of service, their hard work, determination, and unwavering loyalty have played an integral role in the growth and success of our students. It's a testament to their character and work ethic as they have chosen to stay with us here in the district and contribute their talents to help us evolve. As we take this moment to acknowledge Joanne, Amy, and Elizabeth, who are in attendance, and the others who could not make it this evening, I ask that you remember the countless early mornings, the late nights, and the weekends that they have committed to this district, and they continue to dedicate to our district even now. The 25 years of service is not only about longevity, it's about consistently giving their best day after day. Please join me as we acknowledge, as we celebrate Amy Lavin. Amy, please. Amy Lavin has served as a first through third grade teacher, first, second, and third grade at Bywood Elementary School. She currently serves as a superstar second grade teacher at Highland Park. She's also have been a first and third grade teacher. Please join me as we celebrate Elizabeth Riches. Liz has served, she currently serves as a curriculum supervisor for science, health, and physical education. She has served as a physics teacher at Upper Darby High School. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations. Please join me in welcoming to the podium as we celebrate Joanne DeVito. Come on up. So Joanne started off her career here in our district as a high school math teacher. She served as the freshman academy facilitator, also served as a high school assistant principal, and now she's serving in her current position as a principal at Highland Park Elementary School. Congratulations.
Happy to say that my children had the fortune of having Miss Lavin, so great teacher, and she's responsible for who they are now as young adults and students. Thank you. Before we call tonight's meeting to order, Dr. McGarry, will you please outline the public participation procedure, sir?
Yes, Board President Brown. We'll start with those who are in person this evening. Anyone who would like to participate in this evening's meeting, please be mindful that tonight is a legislative meeting and it is a comment only. So during the meeting, if you wanted a general comment, you were to sign in prior to 7:30 on this yellow sheet. And then at the end of the meeting, we'll take general comments for in-person individuals first. You'll come to the microphone, provide your name, address, and then your general comment. The general comments are 3 minutes. If you are attending virtually and wanted a general comment, you could have participated two ways. One, you could have phoned it in at 610-789-7200, extension 2000. Provide your name and address and the specific general comment that you'd make. You could also email it to boardmeetingcomments@upperdarbysd.org. Again, provide your name, address, and general comment, and it'll be taken into consideration at the conclusion of this meeting. Anyone who wanted to comment on a specific report, if you're here in person, before the board takes action on the report, they'll ask comments from the board, and they'll turn it to comments from the public. We'll take in-person comments first. You would come to the microphone, state your name, address, and obviously comment on that specific report. Those who are participating virtually, again, at 610-789-7200, extension 2000, or you can send an email at boardmeetingcomments@upperdarbysd.org and get that in before the board moves on to the next report, and they'll take that into consideration and become part of the record. I'm happy to provide an update as we go on this evening.
Thank you, Dr. McGarry. The regular in-person and virtual meeting of the Upper Darby School District Board of School Directors will please come to order. There was a closed session this evening from 5:20 p.m. until 7:05 p.m. for matters to be discussed within the limitations for closed deliberations as prescribed by Pennsylvania Act 93 of 1998. For this evening's meeting, there were personnel and litigation matters. Roll call, Board Secretary. Mr. Rogers, please.
Dr. Haig,
Present.
Mr. Desnoyers. Present. Mr. Neal. Present. Mr. Warsavage.
Present.
Ms. Murphy Morrissey. Ms. Williams.
Present.
Ms. Mitchell. Mr. Fields.
Present.
Mr. Brown.
Present. Thank you, sir. The district posted this evening's agenda to board docs at least 24 hours prior to the commencement of this meeting. Is there a motion to approve that previously posted agenda?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to offer?
There are no amendments.
Thank you. The agenda has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying I oppose and state your name for the record. Those abstaining, please signify by saying I abstain and state your name for the record. The motion carried. The minutes of the combined work session regular meeting of August 8th, 2023, and the special board meeting of August 22nd, 2023, are in the hands of each board member and have been made available to the public. I move for their adoption.
Second.
Is there a second? Oh, second. Okay. Are there any comments from the board? Are there any comments from the public? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying I oppose and state your name for the record. Those abstaining, please signify by saying I abstain and state your name for the record. The motion carried. The report of the Secretary, Director Williams.
Thank you. The report of the secretary is in the hands of each board member and has been made available to the public. I move for its adoption.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the board? Are there any comments from the public? All those in favor? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying I oppose and state your name for the record. Those abstaining, please signify by saying I abstain and state your name for the record. The motion carried. The report of the Treasurer, Director Neal.
Thank you, President Brown. The report of the treasurer is in the hands of each board member, has been made available to the public. I move for its adoption.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the board? Are there any comments from the public? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying I oppose and state your name for the record. Those abstaining, please signify by saying I abstain and state your name for the record. The motion carried. The budgeted personnel and enrollment reports have been made available to the board and the public and are recorded as part of the record. No vote is required. We will now have the report of the superintendent, Dr. Dan McGarry.
Thank you. Good evening, Board President Brown, members of the board, our new reps, members of the public who are joining us. I hope you can hear me loud and clear in our new boardroom here. I want to first say congratulations again to Fernando and to Jade. Jade, I know you got here a little bit late. You have a lot going on. Don't be stressed. It's a lot of responsibility. But I want to say that meeting with you and Fernando last week and having a conversation, the cabinet had an opportunity to sit down and have a conversation. It's very impressive. It's clear that you're mature beyond your years, both of you. It's awesome to have interactions with students who represent the entire student body. And we had that conversation the other day, how important this opportunity is. And I know it's not lost on you or it's not lost on Fernando over there. And it was really cool to have the conversation that you both know what you want to do. And I know, Jade, you were walking in. I want to make sure that we have this conversation in front of you. And that conversation being that you want to be an entrepreneur and a business owner. And you want to help other businesses kind of coordinate and get their feet up under them moving forward. We've tried to coax you and consider you as a teacher and talk you into that moving forward. We'll see how that goes throughout the year. We did the same with Fernando. Fernando shared with us that he wanted to be a flight attendant. He's very confident in wanting to do that. He's already well traveled. and coming to this country and to our school district. Seems to be impressed. We talked about the schedule. But I also share with Fernando that, and you, Jay, that these are big shoes to fill. The history of the student reps to the school board is really impressive. And in that conversation with Fernando, it reminded me of Kiran Shahzadi, who was a member of this student body, represented as a student rep. And she's working on flying planes and training to fly planes. So I try to talk Fernando into the responsibility of taking the next step instead of a flight attendant to be someone who would want to fly the planes. So Fernando, what did you tell me? You have to hit the mic, the button.
I said I would like the opportunity to be able to fly planes, but I definitely enjoy the customer service aspect of being a flight attendant and being there to help people.
Yeah, and that's the type of confidence that's really awesome that's there. And Jay, do you want to share the reason why being in business and an entrepreneur is something that you were interested in? Well, get used to it now. It's going to start.
Okay. Testing. Well, growing up, I always had like different ideas, you know. I think the first one was owning a orphanage / school / everything else. But I really narrowed it down to what I would be comfortable with, not only working in general, which is, you know, being self-employed and choosing when I want to work, but also helping people. I feel like that's something I've always wanted to do. So seeing like people on Instagram or social media having like smaller businesses and struggle, it's just like I want to help alleviate that stress and that first, oh my gosh, only 2 people bought my stuff this month. You know, just just trying to help people and help them grow and all that. That's really the best thing.
So I appreciate you both answering the question because I just wanted people to get a taste of what we experienced in a brief meeting with you, that you're both very poised, mature, and you're going to represent the student body very well. And I appreciate you taking on this responsibility. We're looking forward to it. This evening, I will be providing an update on the Aronimink Elementary School renovation and expansion. I just want to let everybody know where we are with that project. A reminder regarding our upcoming Act 34 hearing for the Clifton Heights Middle School that will take place here in this boardroom. The status of the Upper Darby High School track and field project, and information related to a late announcement by the Pennsylvania Department of Education regarding another unfunded mandate to extend a free and appropriate public education, known as FAPE, to all students under the Individual with Disabilities Education Act, known as IDEA, extending the age until 22, not only moving forward, but retroactively. I'll begin with the Aronimink update and expansion update. On August the 28th, we welcome back all of our students and our staff. One of the most pressing aspects of the successful opening of the 23-24 school year was our ability to open Aronimink Elementary School on time for staff and students. And I know that Linda is here, the president of the union is here, and I want to say thank you for taking my calls and keeping everybody calm. Donna, you as well, for helping try to keep everybody calm until we got to that moment. It just speaks to the relationship that we have. But I also want to thank Dr. Manfrey, Mr. Rogers, our CFO, Mr. Harnachek, Mr. Tim Leaf, Mr. Lee, Mr. Joe McGilvery, Principal Josh Rehack, Assistant Principal Andrea Simpson, the entire staff that now represents Aronimink Elementary School, which is now a combination of Senko teachers and Aronimink teachers, and forever will be known now as the new Aronimink faculty. The Aronimink Home and School Association, who's been tremendous when we announced this decision of this merger. There have been many, many meetings that took place, and the Aronimink Home and School and the Senko Home and School were wonderful to work with. I also want to say thank you to the Upper Darby Township, Upper Darby Police and Fire Department, and the contractors and subcontractors. It's usually rare that you would say this, but thank you to the contractors and subcontractors who are working on this project. Everybody got involved making sure that we can open school. And it goes without saying that there were certainly many sleepless nights and a lot of strongly worded construction meetings, and they continue to be strongly worded construction meetings, but we remain focused on getting school open for our staff and students on August the 28th. It was awesome to see the faces of the families and the students on the first day of school at Aronimink. While the project is not fully completed, the newly renovated spaces are beautiful, and we will be having a ribbon cutting ceremony once all the spaces are completed, but the new spaces at Aronimink are beautiful. As we look to finalize this project, I wanted to provide everybody with the remaining mile markers for the renovation and expansion. The newly renovated cafeteria space should be completed by the middle of October. Should. I'm going to keep using that terminology. The remaining lower level floors of classroom spaces in the middle lower of the building will be renovated and hopefully and should be available and completed by the middle of October. We'll turn those back over to Mr. Rehack and to the team. And once the cafeteria space and the first floor classrooms are turned back over to Principal Rehack and the agronomic staff, we will then take the gym away from Mr. Rehack. During this conversation, Dr. Manfrey would walk into meetings with the construction folks and say, all you do is keep taking from the school. At some point in time, we have to give something back to them. And so one of the gives was allowing the unfinished gym space to be utilized until the cafeteria space can be completed. And then we'll swap that space and complete putting the new gym hardwood floor in. It needs time to acclimate, and so we had to have weather acclimation systems in place. But the new hardwood floor will be going in and should be available, hopefully, by winter recess, that gym floor will be in place and ready to go. All the remaining outstanding punch list items will be completed and hopefully turned over a completely new renovated inside Aronimink Elementary School by winter break. Thank you again to everyone who was involved in moving this project forward. A special thank you, and I mean this because I think as board members and these volunteer positions, there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of sleepless nights. You've been a part of these sleepless, stress-filled nights. But I want to say thank you. The number of facilities improvements you as board members have already accomplished and have committed to accomplish often takes school districts years and years to complete. Your desire to improve school facilities shows your dedication to the students and community. And as I say this, I'm now going to transition to your next commitment so far, which is a reminder for the upcoming Act 34 hearing on the Clifton Heights Middle School project. While we've certainly had years of meetings to try to get to this point for an Act 34 hearing on the Clifton Heights Middle School project, because of the leadership of this board, we held, I would say, 30, 40, 50 meetings in so many different forums just to get to this moment, where in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, technically, the school board is only obligated to hold one public meeting to build a school. And again, compliments to this school board, I think it was almost 28 meetings for Aronimink and years to get to where we are for Clifton Heights. And sadly, in many school districts, it would only take one meeting, but here it took us a little bit longer. And now we're at the point where the one meeting required by the Commonwealth, the Act 34 hearing, known as a Taj Mahal hearing. Taj Mahal because it makes and puts school districts on notice that you can't just go out there and build this huge, financially draining facility on the backs of taxpayers without some limiting circumstances and a plan to show that you can pay for it. And so the district has already publicly advertised and made available for public review the documents and information related to the Act 34 hearing for the Clifton Heights Middle School project. On September 19th, in this boardroom, located at 8201 Lansdowne Avenue, the Act 34 hearing will take place at 7 p.m. As a reminder, the Act 34 hearing is a hearing where members of the public may provide their comments on the record regarding the project. It is not a question and answer session. The board will not be taking any action on the project on September 19th. The process for providing public comments has been made available to the public in the advertisement, which is also available on the main page of the district website. Along with the reminder of the date for the Act 34 hearing in Clifton Heights project, I also wanted to provide an update on the status, Upper Darby High School track and field. So let me make sure I can use this new fancy technology that Trevor has me. So behind me on the screen, I hope you can see it. This is actually the new Upper Darby High School football field and athletic field at Upper Darby High School. We are proud to announce that this field is open for play. Our student athletes will have home games for the first time in a long time this fall. We passed our impact testing last week, and the remaining aspects that will take place are putting a new track surface. Surrounding this purple and gold and black end zone will be a black track with white striping. But we will be holding home games this fall. The track will be shut down from time to time just to get the new track surface put down. We also will have in this area, the visitor stands will be updated and improved as well. But thanks to Craig Harnachek, Craig Rogers, the board, Marvin Lee, our high school athletic director who's dealt with a lot of headaches, many of our youth organizations who just last week reminded us of shutting down fields and moving them around from place to place. I hope you would agree that this new field is really going to be beautiful and a really nice feature for the Upper Darby School District. So I just wanted to let everybody know where we are in the final stages of this process. We will be having home athletic events. I think the first home game is middle of September. Yeah, September 22nd, we will have a game there here in Upper Darby High School. So again, I want to provide that update. I know that's been out there for the public and a question. I know we talk about it a lot at home and school meetings.
I would like to applause for that because
Yeah.
without
Yeah. Again, I just want to have a reminder that there will be some time still from here until the end of October where we'll have to shut down, not for games or events, but access to the public while we put down the new rubberized track surface. The goal would be by the end of October, the track is finished and everybody can go from there at this point in time. So that's a positive. As I move on from those facilities updates, I do want to make sure that the public is aware that the administration and the Board of School Directors have decided to join a lawsuit here in the Commonwealth. At the end of August, the Pennsylvania Department of Education, known as PDE, announced that all local education entities, known as LEAs, are required to provide a free and appropriate public education, FAPE, that's not new, to all students under the Individuals with Disabilities Act, the IDEA. What is not new, or what is new, is that they've changed the age from 21 until 22. And they've also made it retroactive. Again, I want to say that late August, as we've already passed our budget as a school district and we're already into the school year, there was a decision made to change the age to educate students from 21 until the age of 22. Prior to this late August PDE announcement, all LEAs, as I said, were mandated to provide a FAPE to special education students until the age of 21. The Upper Darby School District has joined the Pennsylvania School Boards Association, known as PSBA, Pittsburgh School District, Central Bucks School District, and I understand from our solicitor that there'll be other school districts joining as well, Kyle?
There are many others that have already started the process.
We will be named, however, as one of the few on the original joining the lawsuit as a school district. And we've joined in filing a petition in Commonwealth Court seeking to enjoin or urge the implementation of the new age 22 policy for special education students. We believe the law was changed in a fashion that did not provide school districts with funding or an opportunity. This is important because we're not against educating special education students. It's just a process that we're frustrated by. Funding or opportunity for public comment. We are concerned that this last-minute and retroactive change, a change from educating students to age 21 to now age 22, is significant. If the goal is to provide students with the best educational opportunities, the planning of and for the implementation of such decisions should include the consideration of space, staffing, budgeting, and a lack of time for school districts to properly provide FAPE. And I want to make sure that the public is aware that we did join that lawsuit. It's publicly available, and we'll also make sure that it's available on our website if you'd like to read what is going on. Board President Brown and members of the school board and the public and our new reps, this concludes my report for this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. McGarry, for that comprehensive report. A lot of good news and good information in there. We will now have an update on the August 22nd, 2023 Education and Pupil Services Committee meeting.
We held an Education and Pupil Service Committee on Tuesday, August 22nd. We had 2 agenda items. Both were informational, so no action is required of the board tonight. The first item was the District Comprehensive Plan. Mr. Marshallak and Dr. Kelly provided information regarding this plan. The district is required to submit the final document to the Department of Education by March 31st, 2024. They look to be setting up committees throughout the fall and into the winter. The second item is the re-registration update. This was once again informational. Dr. Yuson provided an update on the process for the 2023 and 2024 school year. The presentation included details on the number of students that had already re-registered and the process for those still needing to re-register for both 6th and 9th grade students. So this is a process that we ask families to re-register when entering 6th and 9th grade. And that concludes, and then there were no comments regarding either one of these items. This concludes my report.
A detailed summary of the meeting, including, well, no public comments, but if there were public comments, they would be included in the summary, and it can be found on board docs. We will now have an update on the August 22nd, 2023 Finance and Operations Committee meeting. Director Warsavage will read the summary.
There was only one item on the agenda for that evening. It was another robust conversation, if you will, regarding Policy 707. I will never forget that combination of numbers. Use of school facilities. There was one piece of public comment. The speaker thanked the committee for proposing to waive custodial fees for youth groups and the volunteers who run those programs. And as President Brown had just mentioned, further details in regards to these committee meetings and much more can be found on board docs.
Thank you, Director Warsavage. And now the Instruction and Curriculum Report. Director Vice President Fields.
The Instruction and Curriculum Report is in the hands of each board member and has been made available to the public. I move for its adoption.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the board? Are there any comments from the public? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying I oppose and state your name for the record. Those abstaining, please signify by saying I abstain and state your name for the record. The motion carried. I'll read the personnel report in the absence of Director Mitchell. The personnel report is in the hands of each board member and has been made available to the public. I move for its adoption.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the board? Are there any comments from the public? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those opposed, please signify by saying I oppose and state your name for the record. Those abstaining, please signify by saying I abstain and state your name for the record. The motion carried. The policy readings.
Before I move into the policy report first reading, I would like to describe the updates being made to policies. This information is included in the summary of policy changes document that is posted to board docs. So the three policies that have updates this evening are Policy 707, Use of Facilities, as Director Warsavage mentioned, Policy 830, Breach of Computerized Personal Information, and Policy 830.1, Data Governance, Storage, Security. Policy 707 is being updated for the second time in 12 months. And per the results of the board's discussion, this is for Policy 707. Per the results of the board's discussion of Policy 707 at the June 20th and August 22nd, 2023 Finance and Operations Committee meetings, a number of updates are being made to this policy. First, updates agreed to by the board at the June 2023 Finance and Operations meeting. The primary update as a result of this meeting was to waive typical and normal custodial fees for youth groups. Further updates agreed to by the board at the August 2023 Finance and Operations meeting. These updates include the following. Cancellations. No-shows are now explicitly mentioned as a form of short notice cancellation.
Another item for cancellations, the permit holder must provide at least 3 business days notice as opposed to 3 days notice. Cancellations, again, the superintendent or designee will indicate and charge a minimum cancellation fee if a permit holder cancels with less than 3 business days notice or no-shows. Another update, loss of rental privileges due to short notice cancellation. At the discretion of the superintendent or designee, after 1 or more short notice cancellations, the superintendent or designee can suspend that user from rental privileges. Exemptions from rental fees, number 4 and 5, language was added to indicate that the superintendent or designee may designate some facilities, i.e. turf tracks and fields, as not eligible for the youth rental fee waiver. This was actually already implemented on the AR that listed rental fees, but the policy needed to be clarified to indicate that. And then the last section of updates to policy 707 are additional updates not discussed at either June or August 2023 Finance and Operations meeting. Exemption from typical or normal custodial fee. Item 5 was added to the full service charges and rental fees to clarify that the superintendent or designee will determine if additional fees are warranted and the amount of any additional fee. So, a lot happening with policy 707. The changes to policy 830 and the new policy 830.1, briefly. Policy 830 is being extensively amended, and policy 830.1, a new policy, is being adopted following a change in Pennsylvania law. A full description of the changes and contents of each policy can be found in the summary of policy changes. Since that summary is lengthier than my summary of the policy 707 changes, I'll leave you to read it on board docs. So, with all that said, hold on. Okay, here we go for the report. Policies 707, 830, and 830.1 are presented tonight for first readings, for which no vote is required. However, with the school year starting and the possibility of confusion from a later implementation of changes to the facilities use fees, and as this board have discussed these changes at multiple meetings and heard from the public at those times, I moved for the board to waive the multiple readings requirement and allow the board to adopt changes to policy 707 tonight. This is just for policy 707, not the other 2 policies. To that end, the proposed motion as fully stated and posted to board docs, and I move for its adoption.
Second. I just want to thank the board, the administration, and the event curators for their endless conversations on this topic. I don't want to go on any further about it because we have invested a lot of energy into that, all of us. But I'm really looking forward to a future in facilities use that includes all aspects of the community, that makes it cost-friendly instead of cost-prohibitive. And if you have any community events coming up that you would like to involve, maybe some of the facilities here in the district, please reach out either to, I don't want to volunteer anyone's services, but if you want to reach out to either the school directly or the administration or perhaps even a board member, and we can put you in contact with the right personnel, we'd be happy to help.
Not a question so much as a request to the groups that are interested in using these facilities.
there's a checklist of items that you need to have in place. Insurance, a certain percentage of the kids being from Upper Darby, a few other things that you need to consider when reserving a space. The district's happy to provide this, what is needed to you, so you have a better understanding what is needed. The folks that have been doing this for a long time, you know what it is. But for any of our newer groups that have been invited to participate, understand that it's not just a matter of like clicking a couple buttons in Facilitron and you have a space. There are certain prereqs before you can get the space. The main thing being insurance for your organization. The second priority being a certain percentage of the kids being from Upper Darby as youth serving organizations. So please keep that in mind. And as I said, the district will happily provide you a list of what you should have in place really before you can reserve a space. All right, so please keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I actually think it lists those things in Facilitron. So it talks about insurance and things like that. I know that from personal experience. So I just have a comment. I want to do a few thank yous, and just to piggyback on Director Warsavage's thing, I want to thank Dr. McGarry for leading the process and even facilitating a meeting last week with the youth serving organizations and crafting a solution that was amenable for all, and I think fair and equitable and responsible. So thank you for that. I want to thank Marvin Lee for being a part of this process from the very beginning and helping us get to where we are now. And Director Desnoyers, you've worked really hard on this policy for a long time, and even reading it tonight and going through it tonight, the history of it is, I'm appreciative of your efforts and your work on that. So thank you for that. And lastly, I want to thank the public and the youth serving organizations who've been patient with us as we try to get it right. We don't always get it right the first time, but we worked hard, and we think we understand what the community needs and wants. And if we don't get it right, as you can see, this collective body will work hard to figure it out. So I think I like where we are now, and I like where we're going, and I think it'll benefit the whole community. So thank you for that. And we would like to acknowledge the presence of Director Murphy Morrissey. So are you present?
I am present.
Okay. So she's officially a part of the meeting. And I believe you had a comment about policy 707. We are in the process of hearing comments from the board members on waiving the reading, multiple readings, and adopting the changes to policy 707. Did you have a comment on that?
Yes, I was thanking Superintendent McGarry and everyone involved, the hard work that went into to developing the policy, and I was also giving my support for the policy, and because I understand how it affects the community and giving the community access to the resources that we have within the community.
Thank you for your
I
comment.
probably said a little bit more than that, but it took a little while to get it all together.
Okay. Thank you for that comment. Any other comments from the board? I'm just going to read this part again. To be clear, a vote in the affirmative will waive the multiple readings requirement for policy 707 and adopt the proposed changes to that policy. And now I'll go to the public since there's no more comments from the board. Are there any comments or questions from the public regarding policy 707? Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We do have one comment
There was a
received
public comment?
via email.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, we have a comment from Catherine Cruz, located at 700 Clarendon Street in Drexel Hill. That comment was received on the 12th of September at 5:11 p.m. via email regarding the policy report. The comment reads as follows. Please see the attached, let me skip down. As a district resident and parent, I am concerned that the students in our district are not being afforded opportunities to receive education outside of the classroom, mentoring, and additional exposure to social settings that promote positive interactions. The attachment document is an available program, Girls Spark, that is looking to partner with Upper Darby School District and provide support to our students. However, we are in need of support from district to do so. Again, please see the attachments and feel free to reach out with any additional questions or concerns using the contact information provided on the notice. And the attachment, should I read that, Solicitor Berman?
Until the time runs, the time runs
Through
out.
the time
yes.
that she has available to her.
Okay. The attachment reads as follows. I'm writing on behalf of a local nonprofit called Girls Spark that I recently joined as a board member. This nonprofit was founded 5 years ago by then 16-year-old Julia Casper as a junior at Pencrest High School. It was born out of her need to find a community that could help her better navigate all the social issues that teen girls face today that are so much different than you or I ever faced as a teenager. After a couple years of looking for this, her mom, a local businesswoman and an Upper Darby alumni class of 81, encouraged Julia to create it on her own if she could not find it and get girls to help her, and her mom would find a way to help her. Julia wanted to discuss topics such as body image and self-confidence, mental health, safe dating, bullying, relationships, etc., and bring in workshop leaders to facilitate an open dialogue with the girls in a unique, engaging, empowering, and educational format. Long story short, Girls Spark was born with the help of 12 local high school girls and a group of passionate adult women volunteers. The first Girls Spark Summit was held in April of 2019 at DCCC, where 153 girls attended. Soon after, Girls Spark turned into a local nonprofit where they now have provided services for just over 600 girls between the Tri-County area through online virtual workshops, the annual summit, Men School Summit, now bringing chapters and clubs to local schools. Each year, her mom, an Upper Darby alumni, has reached out to Upper Darby High School to invite the student body. This past May, they hosted the summit at Penn State Brandywine, where 197 girls attend, both middle and high schoolers. They even provided free bus transportation from Upper Darby to Penn State Brandywine. The organization was turned down by the district, so even allowing sharing yard signs out front the Upper Darby School about the Girls Spark Summit and asked to submit a certificate of insurance to put up a yard sign, and then turned it down. They are interested in offering a club or a chapter at the school for free to help the girls at Upper Darby, but have not been able to make any headway. Did you know that according to the recent CDC report, 3 out of 5 teen girls are at risk for anxiety, depression, and even suicide? End of comment. The rest of the comment will be entered into
The
record.
remainder of the comment will be entered into the minutes.
Yes. That concludes the comments on that policy report.
Thank you. So I think we've heard all the board comments and the public, no public comments in the room. We've heard the emailed comments. So I think we are ready to vote at this point. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. All those abstaining, please say I abstain. The motion carries. That deserves a round of applause, I think. All right. Let's see. The supplies report, Director Warsavage.
The supplies report is in the hands of each board member and has been made available to the public. I move for its adoption.
Second.
Are there any comments from the board? Are there any comments from the public? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying I oppose and state your name for the record. Those abstaining, please signify by saying I abstain and state your name for the record. The motion carried. The facilities report, the use of facilities report, and the donation report. Director Murphy Morrissey, are you able to do that one?
The facilities report, the use of facilities report, and the donation report. And before I read the donation report, I wanted to thank everyone who gave book bags and school supplies to our students as they start off the school year. But the facilities report, the use of facilities report, and the donation report are in the hands of every board member and have been made available to the public, and I move for their adoption.
Second.
Thank you very much, Director Murphy Morrissey. Are there any comments from the board? Are there any comments from the public? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying I oppose and state your name for the record. Those abstaining, please signify by saying I abstain and state your name for the record. The motion carried. The finance and budget report. Director Dr. Haig.
Thank you, President Brown. The Finance and Budget Report is in the hands of each board member and has been made available to the public. I move for its adoption.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the board? Are there any comments from the public? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please signify by saying I oppose and state your name for the record. Those abstaining, please signify by saying I abstain and state your name for the record. The motion carried. All right, that takes us to our collateral assignment reports. We'll start with the Delaware County Community College Director Vice President Fields.
Not much of a report today. I did forward an invitation to the Community College's School Board Appreciation Dinner, which is October 25th. It's a Wednesday. Should be at 6 p.m. It's always a very nice dinner, and they do a good job of updating where they are with their different developments, and hopefully they'll have a nice update for the facilities development that they're putting on the Bonner Prendy property. So if you didn't get that from me when I forwarded it, let me know, and I'll send it again. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. The Delaware County Intermediate Unit Director Mitchell is a little under the weather today. I did talk to her earlier, and she said there was normal business with the IU, not a lot to report, and she will provide her normal, detailed, comprehensive report the next time we have this meeting. So she said nothing of note, or she would have passed it along. Legislative Council, Director Warsavage, is there a meeting coming up tomorrow?
Yes,
maybe?
President Brown, tomorrow morning at 7:45. I will be there.
All right. Thank you, sir. The Mendenhall Tyson Scholarship Committee, Director Haig.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. It's too early, right? Okay. Home and School, Director Warsavage, I think I heard there was a meeting already. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, we had a home and school meeting, district home and school meeting actually yesterday at, I believe, 5:30. Dr. McGarry can correct me if I'm wrong. Basically, we went over some of the hallmarks that everyone heard already in Dr. McGarry's superintendent's report from earlier this evening. One thing of note I wanted to definitely bring to the community's focus is the fact that a lot of our home and schools are in a period where they're trying to become more situated in some of the policies and procedures that girder and support their own organizations. And so some of our leaders in those home and schools, namely among them Aronimink Home and School, are offering some of their expertise and knowledge in that regard. And I believe Dr. McGarry is also going to help facilitate a safe meeting space for all of those leaders to come up with solutions for each of those organizations. We're talking bylaws, we're talking process, we're talking terms and all that stuff. It's really encouraging to see, because I know in particular that the district has wanted to have some semblance of not necessarily an omnibus kind of a home and school, because the individualism of each home and school is super important. But this is like a culmination of several years of work, prodding, encouragement, and it just came up organically. It wasn't like something Dr. McGarry said, okay, now this is going to have to happen somehow, some way. It was just a beautiful conversation that happened, and it was just really, really fun to hear. Dr. McGarry, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think part of it is they don't want to hear me talk all the time on the meetings, and they would like to spend time with each other. But every month we meet, and I appreciate the administrators, all the cabinet level administrators pretty much most of the time attend. Ms. Buford attends. The building principals, they don't have to, but they attend. And the home and school, district-wide home and school get together on a call. And I try to review. I have an agenda. It's an ongoing agenda that we add to. They are provided an opportunity to ask questions in advance of the meeting. I'll try to answer those questions. The two questions that came up this past month were about bylaws, how to establish bylaws and officers, and also about safety, virtual digital safety, social media safety, asking for continued support and updates on, as a parent, how do we help our kids and our youth with social media and the perils of social media, and we did our best to answer that. And we're going to be coming up with, again, as we do each year, with our district attorney's office, a presentation on social media and the perils of social media. And Damien always attends the meetings and provides input if need be from the board. I provided all the facilities updates. I also provided to the Home and School Association the comments that I provided tonight on the changing the age from 21 to 22 for special education students, and just wanted to review that and get their sense and their feeling, and make sure that our home and schools are aware of what we're doing as a team here in the district. It was a positive meeting, and the next meeting is theirs. I'm going to set up a meeting, and we can attend it and listen in, but they want to meet with themselves virtually and collaborate and share resources, and so that will be the focus of the next meeting.
Thank you both. Thank you, Director Warsavage and Dr. McGarry. PSBA is next. I have several things that I'll update from a PSBA perspective. Dr. McGarry, Director Rachel Mitchell, and I were asked to participate by PSBA Associate Director of Professional Development, Will Smelter, to be a part of their Start Strong event that they're having tomorrow morning at their headquarters in Mechanicsburg, PA. Dr. McGarry's pretty busy, so he's not going to go for the event, but Director Mitchell and I was going to go. Director Mitchell is not here tonight, so she's ill, so she will not be able to attend, unfortunately, and lend her talents and her expertise to the panel discussion. But I will be attending, and I will represent the district, and we'll discuss things like best practices and our experiences as long-term school board directors and superintendents. So I'll represent us and do my best to do us proud. So that's the one event. The annual PSBA Leadership Conference is October the 15th through the 17th in the Kalahari Resorts in the Poconos, as it was last year. I will be attending that along with my vice president. PSB Advocacy Week has been extended to a full week. And Advocacy Week is important because that's where we work along with PSBA and we advocate to our legislators for fair funding and all of the things we need. You know, we do a great job in this district, thanks to Dr. McGarry, but there's a lot more we could do if we was properly funded. So that's the week where we do that. And this advocacy is so important that they've extended it to a full week now. It's from October 2nd through the 6th. Part of it is virtual on Wednesday, October 4th. That's the in-person, and that's when our legislators will be in DC, and we'll be there to talk, about fair funding and advocate on behalf of our districts. So I think that's it for PSBA. Anything that I missed, Director Fields or Desnoyers or Williams, anything? PSBA?
I was just going to say I did forward you something from PSBA about I believe it was a webinar dealing with security.
Okay. I'll take a look at that. All right. Thank you. Next is the policy liaisons. Director Desnoyers, anything to add?
Two things. After the home and school discussion, I'll just say if I can assist with the process of codifying home and school bylaws, I'd be happy to give whatever help I can. And second, I mentioned at this meeting last month that discussions were happening around what's known as responsible contractor language. Those discussions are continuing, and if and when they will require board action, they will be on the agenda. And that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything, Director Neal? Okay. Communications, Director Dr. Haig.
Thank you. I'll just sort of remind the public that we do send out a monthly update that's meant to be kind of a highlights of the board meeting. Of course, there's minutes of the meetings that are very detailed, but the monthly update is meant to be sort of just the top headline issues, and that any member of the community can go to the district's webpage and sign up to receive that. You don't have to be a parent of a student or anything else. Anyone can sign up. It's under the school board tab on the district website.
We'll move on to old business. Is there any old business from board members? Okay, we'll move on to new business. Dr. McGarry, I think you had something you wanted to mention.
There's been a lot of discussion in school districts talking about getting involved in litigation regarding social media and the impact social media has had on our youth. And we've had conversations administratively. I think all the administrators in the room, I'm sure many parents in the room would agree that social media has had an impact on our children and not always in a positive way. And it's certainly interrupted our learning environments in a negative way. And our administrative discussion has been with our solicitor and the school board to get involved and to join or consider joining the litigation regarding this class action lawsuit regarding social media and the impact that it's had. Kyle, is there anything I'm missing you want to add to that? Or
At this juncture, no, that would be all that we have.
Thank you, Dr. Gary. Thank you, Mr. Berman. Is there any other new business? Yes, Director Desnoyers.
At the youth group meeting last Thursday evening that President Brown and I and Dr. McGarry and youth group leaders attended, and then continuing through the weekend, there has been some discussion of retroactively offering youth groups who used our facilities last winter season, winter of 22-23, of a retroactive discount, and I believe there are a majority of board members who wish to do that. And so would like to ask if it would be appropriate for me to make that motion.
Under the requirements of the Sunshine Act as they've been amended, the whole reason that we approve an agenda at the beginning of the meeting is to add things that need to be added or not add them. If at this point you're looking to add that onto the agenda for actual consideration and vote, the board needs to enunciate, or the person making the motion needs to enunciate why this should be coming up now instead of being dealt with at the next meeting. But if you need to do it tonight and you have a reason for it, the board would then have to vote to add it to the agenda.
Okay, thank you. I'd be happy waiting till next meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Director Desnoyers. Is there any other new business from board members? Okay, next I'll turn it over to Mr. Craig Rogers. I think you have some business.
The last item here under new business is the election of the PSBA officers. So we'll conduct a poll vote to elect the PSBA officers for 2024, and each board member has been provided the biographies of each candidate. I'll call on, as we go through, different this year than some other years, there's only one candidate for each position. So instead of poll voting, the board, what we'll do is I'll announce the position, the name, I'll ask for all those in favor, and then if anybody abstains, and we'll move through a little quicker than poll voting each board member, if that's okay with you, President Brown. So first up's the president-elect. The sole candidate is Allison Mathis. Do we have all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstain? The next is vice president, Sabrina Backer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstain? Next is the treasurer, Karen Beck Pooley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstain? The last would be PSBA Insurance Trust trustees. We have two separate seats. So for seat one, and this is for a term ending December 31st, 2026, we have Mary Ann Neal. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstain? Seat two, Mike Facento. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstaining? And that's all for the PSBA elections.
Thank you. All right. We are now at the time for the public hearing. We will call on Upper Darby School District residents who signed in to address the board in the order in which they signed in, followed by emailed and phoned comments. We would ask that you come forward, give your name and address, and present your comments in the 3-minute time limit. In accordance with Policy 903, the time allotted for general comments, both in person and submitted comments, will not exceed 1 hour.
Susan Parker, 2104 Green Hill Road, Post Office, Lansdowne, Upper Darby Township, since 1978. Well, here I am again. I brought you all up to date on the history with firsthand information on what's going on my side of the township in Upper Darby. My kids went to Bywood Elementary School, finally. I got involved in 81 because our neighborhood, which is right behind the Y, the 8 square blocks there, were sent to a different school every year, and they were going to do it again for 5 years. So there were always the new kids. Our neighborhood had an uprising, and we were sent to Bywood, and we were promised at least 10 years, and we went there much, much longer because my kids, I was started when I was pregnant with Zach, who was 42. So that was 81. And anyway, so, which I was thrilled with Bywood. We got a bus because it was kind of a dangerous walk play for elementary school kids. I loved the education they got there. There were 34 languages spoken when my kids went there. So aside from the fact that the teachers were fantastic and it was a wonderful exposure, the fact that my daughter still has a friend who, at her home, speaks Farsi, and actually she married someone from Russia, so her kids are fluent in Russian, Farsi, and English, and they know who to speak what to, and they're elementary school ages. So this is a product of growing up on my side of the township, and it's nothing but invaluable. You couldn't even begin to get that. In fact, I had a neighbor who was going to send her kids to the French International School, and I just said, just send them to Bywood. Jess has a friend from Morocco who, they speak French at home, you know? And so anyway, I came because I've been in this community since 1978. I was a Girl Scout leader for 12 years. I was on the board of the Y for 6. I believe in this community. My husband have stayed here and contributed. My husband was a coach for the Drexel Hill Raider wrestling quad. I mean, we've been part of this community, and I want to talk about my side of the community now. Bywood has 4 portable classrooms on its property. I haven't been past Stonehurst. I heard there might be one there. And now the kids from Cardington section lost their school almost 50 years ago. So when I was on the Y board, we had these long-range plans, 5-year plan, 10-year plan. I'm missing that for my side of the township, and that's what I'm here to remind you and be a reminder, and I'm going to come every month again and bring you up to date, because when I went to the Bywood Home and School meeting, it was mostly people from my neighborhood, but I had a scout troop which was from every country in the world, and I would talk those parents into coming to the meeting. Now, some of the people, their English wasn't so hot, and so they felt uncomfortable. Plus, they came from countries where you just don't go to a public meeting and complain or talk or have input. So this is the most densely populated section there. We have Barclay Square, we have Park Lane East, and many, many apartment buildings. So it's in row houses, so it's so densely populated, and there are no parochial schools open there. All of them have closed because there aren't a lot of Catholics there, so they need public school. So I'll be back next month.
John DeMasi, 706 Stanbridge Road. My child is of high school age, but goes to another school, even though we live here in the district. First off, Dr. McGarry, that lawsuit for the cyberbullying and the social media, please use me as a witness. I think I'd be more than happy to volunteer and say, and that blends in with what what I came here to see, members of the school board and administration. First and foremost, I would make a suggestion that there be a public comment at the beginning of a meeting, where it's been very discouraging for many members of the community to have to wait until the end. You only get 3 minutes, and you gotta go with whatever's left. It can be discouraging. We would also ask that in lieu of that, even better would be to have an open discussion time outside of meetings, comprised of leaders from the community, such as the superintendent, the mayor, the school board president, township council president, Clifton Heights mayor, Upper Darby director of public safety, because we have a horrible, horrible crime and discipline problem going on in not just Upper Darby School District, but Upper Darby. I think we've all seen the reports, we've seen the victims, we know the victims, we've seen what's going on. So we would ask that there be an organization put together to have a meeting of meaningful discussion and ideas that could be implemented to help our community, help our kids, and help our community at large. We're really tired of seeing our own community on the news every night because of something that went wrong. There are plenty of good things going on in this community that could be replacing those that are going wrong. We'd like to see them. This is not to create a forum for just an airing of grievances. It's a forum for actual back and forth with the people who are elected and appointed to make the decisions and lead our community. I think it's a good idea, and I know it's one that we can implement. We need to discuss things such as truancy. which in the district seems to be out of control. It's gotten worse since 2018. The statistics that I have, the truancy rate, habitual truancy rate has risen from 21 to 40% at Beverly Hills Middle School. At the high school, the habitual truancy rate was at 16% in 2018 and went to 35% in 2022. My understanding on the data that I got last year after we implemented this change in the curriculum that was supposed to allow kids to sleep in, it hit 46%. Now, I'm sure there's probably some phraserization that has to go on with that data, but it's not going to change it that much. We've seen an incredible uptick in the middle schools. The Drexel Hill Middle School went from 7% to 11% over that time. There is a direct correlation, if you follow the studies from any number of governmental agencies, Georgia Tech, a couple other universities, that shows an increase in truancy at a school district has a direct correlation to delinquency, vandalism, and crime in the community. That doesn't mean that's all the crime. There are plenty of adults that are committing crimes. We need to address this situation.
I'm sorry, this was just a mess of your time. I apologize.
We're
Sorry.
hoping, and are there that many people after me?
Yes.
How
Yep.
many?
Doesn't matter. Somebody after you. So yeah.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you. Yep.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all school board directors, school teachers, officials. A special thanks, Miss Kelly. She helped me lots of, and Mr. Lavaski, he was the council. He's the counselor now. He's the Luxembourg. They helped me lots of. So my son is going to this way. He's excellent.
I'm sorry. You need to give us your address. I think
Yes.
you wrote it on here.
Kamal
Can you just state it?
Uddin Buttu, 201 Barrington Road, Upper
Got it.
Darby.
Thank you, sir.
PA 19082. I am here region school bus stop. I am living there last 20 years. All the times school bus they're gonna stop. This is the Barrington. This is the Walnut Street. We live in the south side. There are other sign is the north side. Last 20 years, all drivers, they're going to stop their bus right side. I have to list 14 parents. They live in the south side, but school bus coming in the north side. I told the drivers, he's the new driver, he don't know. When school bus, school done, they're going to drop off Walnut and Barrington Road. This is the south side. They're going to drop up kids. You see the small kids. This one is very dangerous to cross the Walnut Street. This is the very busy road. I am my humble request to Mr. School Superintendent, Transportation Superintendent, to humble request to we need to stop bus 30 in the Walnut and Barrington Street south side. Just one side is the north, one side is the south. We have 14 parents. They are affected. They cannot cross the road with little kids, busy all the times. Different transportation is coming, going. When they see the school bus, kids gonna run it. Little kids, someone's first gate, second gate, third gate, fourth gate. This one is my humble request to Mr. Superintendent in Transportation Department to stop sign is the Barrington and Walnut Street south side. South. We don't need go to the left side. 14 parents are affected. Please, this one is my humble request. So we are here. Some people coming in, they are here. Other parents, they are working. So please, I told in before previous years, they did driver, they don't know, new driver coming in. When we talk the driver, they're going to listening us. This year, this driver told me, go to the school board, then they will help you. So I know Mr. Edward, I know Mr. Don, I know Deborah, other the gentleman, and Mr. David. They know me, my name is Buttu. So humble request, please, we need to school bus stop, Walnut and Barrington Street, make a south side. Thank you very much for everything. See you next time.
Thank you. That completes our in-person comments. Ms. Buford, are there any email comments or online comments?
That comment is received from Sadie Thomas, located at 75 Houston Road in Lansdowne. Comment was received on the 12th at 7:28 p.m. via email. This is a general comment. The comment reads as follows. My complaint is transportation and busing and the lack of communication. I called last week regarding my children getting home because our bus is consistently very late and the GPS app was showing the bus in Chester at dismissal time. The woman who answered the phone was very nice and apologetic, tried to get me to a dispatcher, couldn't, took my number and transferred me to leave a message. I never heard back. They were put on a different bus to come home, but no communication from transportation to parents. Yesterday morning, our bus was listed as approaching and the kids gathered their belongings at the stop. Suddenly, the GPS app changes to no ETA, inactive status, and the bus itself is seen near H Mart. We're told the bus is diverted and we will be about a 2-hour delay. No real update or communication from transportation. I walked to the next bus stop to tell the lone parent there, and another parent called the school, speaking to Principal Williams and calling parents to get these kids a ride. In that time, 2 UDSD buses, one being the other half of our neighborhood, passed us and couldn't even update us. The past drivers were courteous enough to do so, Mr. Sean being one of them. She was able to secure rides for all 23 kids that were at our stop, and because of her, the staff at Charles Kelly was aware a bus was late and half a neighborhood of kids would be arriving in drips and drags. There was still no notification regarding dismissal in the afternoon. It took multiple parents calling Principal Williams because transportation was not returning calls for her to call transportation and get them to send a phone blast. There would be at least a 2-hour delay and kids should be home by 6 p.m. She worked some magic because she was able to secure a different bus and have kids home only 20 minutes late. We are consistently a half-hour late pickups in the morning and an hour late dropped off in the afternoons. There's no solid communication and students are only showing in GPS about half the time, but no one knows why. I have asked why the bus for Fernwood is on time and why can't we be on that bus? It comes right past us to go somewhere else. No answers. I asked for a transportation parent meeting with the parents of this neighborhood as a whole and no response. I know the lower half of our neighborhood is the last assigned from having meetings already. Our parents don't drive, they take public transportation. We need a meeting and it needs to come to us. End of comment.
Are there any other comments?
There are no further comments.
Thank you. Is there a motion for the adjournment of the meeting?
So moved.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Have a good night, everyone.